Well, hello there, you beautiful, beautiful, amazing, wonderful people. You're looking absolutely amazing on this thirsty Thursday. I'm going to get straight into the meat and potatoes because we've got a little bit to go through as we continue talking about the Charlie Kirk case. I was sent a news article. I'll see how the dust settles with it because I don't currently believe that it's authentic. The site looks authentic, but I'm not going to show it because I just there's just something about it. It's talking about Tyler Robinson and a statement that he'd apparently made that he can't tell the whole story because they'll come after my entire family. But again, I'm going to let the dust settle on that. But just remember this statement. Just remember that the fact that I mentioned it, if it does indeed rear its ugly head, at this moment, I just can't offer any credibility. But there are things that I do want to bring because the questions around the Charlie Kirk case, there's a few of them, but one is the standout thing at the moment. Now, it's regarding the death of Charlie Kirk itself, the mechanics of the crime. There is still mass kind of speculation and conversation around the wound and whether this wound to Charlie's neck was indeed an entry point or an exit point. And this is a bone of contention at the moment because ultimately, for Tyler Robinson to be the shooter, this does have to be an entry wound. But we cannot ignore the fact that there are people out there who have come forward who are very, very familiar with the weapon. They're very, very familiar with shooting, and they believe that this is an exit wound, not an entry wound, which changes everything. And there is some footage that would suggest that there are clues within the video's footage that existed around this that perhaps can prove that this shot and this injury that you're seeing is indeed an exit wound. There is, and we're going to talk about it. First of all, before we do that, we just have to have a moment of silence that Jimmy Kimmel has been taken off air over Charlie Kirk comments. So yes, he's gone. ABC has pulled late night host Jimmy Kimmel off air indefinitely over comments he made about the shooting of right-wing influencer Charlie Kirk. Jimmy Kimmel Live will be preempted indefinitely, a spokesperson for the Disney-owned network said in a statement earlier this week. Kimmel said during his show that the MAGA gang was trying to score political points off Kirk's killing. I'm sure that there will be people who agree with that statement, and a lot of them have been fucking fired from their jobs. But there we go. It is what it is. I'm not going to get into the weeds with that. I want to bring you to this person's attention. This is Lauren the Mortician. If you search her in the search bar, Lauren the Mortician, she is someone who speaks about being a mortician. And she raises some very interesting statements, some things about the shot itself, and we're just going to listen to it.
Here is where I will start to put on my tinfoil hat because...
And this is, pay close attention to what she says here, because this isn't... I know she's a mortician. She's not a shooting specialist. I don't think she is anyway. But what she says here is absolutely accurate.
Supposed to believe someone perched 200 yards away on a rooftop. They managed to pull out a you-know-what, raise it, aim it, and in a matter of seconds, land a shot directly into his carotid artery. Do you realize how much has to happen in those tiny slivers of time? I don't feel like people are talking nearly enough about the level of precision this took, because this wasn't a sloppy act of rage. This was sniper level skill.
We're going to go to the other clip in a second regarding the trajectory and whether this is indeed in or out. But she basically said, professional shooters train for years. They train for years. And look, earlier on, I had said I believed that this was potentially a missed headshot. a missed headshot, because I'm considering from where Tyler is. I'm considering from where he is, and taking into consideration his level of skill. What is his level of skill? Because he's not going to be the kind of person who can pull this shot off. He is not. So for him to hit that shot, I believe that this would have had to have been a missed headshot. And as he's shooting, it comes down and goes into that, which then again is millions. It's one in a million, 1 in a billion chance of missing a headshot, but still getting this absolutely fucking perfect spot on shot. But that all changes in the event that this shot came from somewhere else. And in order to speak about that, we're heading over to this channel here, which is Heavy Duty Country. Listen to what he has to say, because he raises some points about different things around the Charlie Kirk aftermath
of the Charlie Kirk shooting. So there's been a lot that's come out about the shooter. There has been a lot that's came out about if this is actually the shooter. There have been a lot of mug shots released. There has been the footage of him going to court.
We need to address today, counsel.
Just for the court's information, we did file just recently with him.
Because obviously what we have to remember is that there was multiple different individuals shown. Like, we're going to jump forward and just come to this bit here, which this was someone who was originally reported as being someone who could potentially be involved.
East of the library in all black clothing, and they also say the person has a rifle.
Maybe the CS building is just east of the library. He's wearing jeans, black shirt, black mask, long rifle.
UVU. There was one shot. We are staging at the front of the school by the roundabout.
Okay. So then they release this picture, and it's not the best picture in the world, but here's what I...
And he talks about this picture. This guy's got fucking Fed written all over him, isn't he? Fucking greasy, slick back hair, fucking Ray-Bans on, some sort of suit. Looks like a clone of what you would think is a hitman in a in a film. We're gonna skip forward, right? Like to jump forward here.
That this is not the guy who runs off the back of the building.
Good question. You notice how someone was obviously watching that camera. Someone was obviously physically controlling that camera and moved that camera. Unless it's been done in post, do you know what I mean? Which it's possible that someone is. It's very easy to make an image look, but that does it appears that someone panned that camera. But this is where we're going to... He talks about other stuff. I'd say go over and check this video. The link to this video is in the description of my video. But what we're going to do here is talk now about the bullet itself.
Theory is, it is almost a guarantee that that bullet is going to somewhat fragment, especially if it's a level 3 or higher plate. It could have not, but in my opinion...
This is what he's talking about here is bullet fragmentation if Charlie Kirk was wearing body armor, which we're concluding that Charlie Kirk wasn't, or if he was wearing body armor, that had there was no ricochet here. There was no... This bullet was a direct hit.
If it's bouncing off something, the entry is going to be bigger. There have also been other theories that the guy just shot him straight in the neck. Maybe he was aiming for his head and they missed low because they were shooting from a high point. The problem is there's no exit from that angle. And nobody on earth is going to tell me that a 30-06 going anywhere from 3,000 to 2,700 feet per second is not going to have an exit wound. I've deer hunted my entire life. I've hog hunted most of my life. Not once, going through rib cages, going through bone, has there not been an exit wound with a 30-06. And the body of a deer is way wider.
And that's important, isn't it? Because if you think, even if this is the entry point, and we know that there's no structural integrity loss to Charlie's neck, then this is just a very thin amount of of flesh and going through the artery. So you would have expected some kind of movement behind him as the bullet continues and hits the back of the thing that Charlie's sitting in. You would have expected something, but the fact that nothing seems to move behind him, there's no sound, there's no nothing, it does seemingly suggest that there is more of a possibility of it going the other way, because when the cameras are all facing that way, if this is an in and out shot, you would have expected to see some indication of the bullet coming out of the backside of Charlie's neck and hitting something behind him, because he was in an enclosure.
Human's neck. I don't know how much this makes sense to people, but some of them are 1.5 feet wide. So in my opinion, that doesn't make sense. Then the other day I had this video sent to me, and this is by far the most shocking footage that I've seen. Why don't we just start with the footage? But here's what I want y'all to watch. There is a muzzle flash that is coming from a window, if you're looking at Charlie Kirk from the crowd, up and to the left, which makes the most sense to me as far as him being shot in the other side of the neck and this being an exit wound. Check this out.
Keep your eye on this space here where the red circle is as the next clip plays. To me, I first seen this and thought straight away, holy shit, that is the bullet. It matches the exit wound. It also matches the shirt puffing up and the angle of the entry and exit.
So obviously you've got Charlie here. They've blurred that out so you can't see it. But you're obviously coming down here, entering in here, and you can see something here. As he switches between frames, you can see something.
Just to see if this was actually fact, trying to get as much info as I could before I posted anything. And in that video, you can see the same, what appears to be the bullet coming down, and it does line up with the actual gunshot itself.
We're not counting gang violence. Great.
See that?
So, again, I needed another angle. I found this video, and this one's a little bit harder to see, but you can see something go down into the back right-hand side of Charlie. So, from this, looking at Google Earth and drawing a line from where I believe the shooter was, his tent being set up.
He believes that he was up here, so somewhere on this corner, and coming down from probably this corner here, and coming in at this trajectory down across.
In the middle of that triangle area, would appear that the shooter was up here somewhere. That's the angle that the bullet was coming down from. It all makes sense.
And what you did notice, and this was posed, I believe it was on the live last night, it was posed the question, when you hear a gunshot, where do you look? Do you look at what's happened, or do you automatically turn to where the shot comes from? And in my experience, because of where I live, and you always find that when you hear a gunshot, you automatically, it's reflex almost, to look at where you think it came from. And if you look at the footage in that, go and do it, look at where everybody looks. They don't look over to where Tyler's supposed to be shooting. They all look in the opposite fucking direction. Now, look, obviously the acoustics in here is going to be very different than in certain situations. There's going to be almost like an echo effect because it is stadium-esque, but everybody doesn't look to where it comes from. They look over in this direction. But again, it could be coincidental. But let me know what you think.
Pretty crazy. I think if we pan around and look at where the media and where everyone else is saying that the bullet come from and giving scenarios on ricochets and different bullets and bits and pieces, it doesn't make sense for it to come from the rooftop over here. It doesn't line up with.
Shot to think about. It's where did the bullet go once it struck him and gone out the other side when he is in an enclosed area? So the argument was this an entry point? Was it an exit point? Because if it is indeed an exit point, this is an exit wound that we are witnessing here, then that does pretty much change everything. And when you think that there's people out there who are raising a very valid question surrounding the shot itself and putting that into a skill scenario, then was this just the most lucky shot that this individual, this angry, fucking indoctrinated young adult took from 200 yards with a planning of only a week, he thinks, with a rifle that is not particularly it's not a highly skilled sniper rifle. It's an easily sought and got hunting rifle. There's just something about this that just don't sit right. Just something that don't sit right. But let me know what you think. Like I say, you've got Lauren the Mortician. Go and check her out. Listen, she does touch on some other things around Charlie. And then you've got this gentleman here. His video is in the description of this video. Go and check the whole video out. And he does go through this a bit more in depth. I'm not going to take the views away from his video. Not that there's a lot of danger of that happening. But yeah, was this an exit wound or was it an entry wound? Let me know down below what you think, and I will catch you all in the next one.